Welcome back. Let's start a new drawing. We're going to be talking today about the Draw menu, the Modify menu, and some new settings and tools. There's always a few things I do at the beginning. I like to turn off the grid. I like to go to the View tab and turn off my View cube, back on the Home tab. There are a few other settings I'd like to introduce. One of them here is the option that allows the right click of the mouse button to operate like the Enter key. This just speeds up drafting. So to enter the options menu, type O, P, Enter. Here we've seen this before, and this is how I was able to adjust the colors in my background. Today what I'm going to do is change some preferences over in the User Preferences area. We can see there is the first window here that allows me to customize my right click. Both of these checkboxes have to be turned on, and after that I'm going to push this button. I want to modify some tools for my right click, so I'm going to make it repeat the last command in both of these scenarios, and then I'm going to make it perform as the Enter key as well. When I click Apply and Close, I'm going to click OK. Now my right mouse button is behaving just like the Enter key. This keeps my hands more on the mouse when I need them and allows my left hand to do all the keyboarding, allows my right hand to stay connected to the mouse, not having to travel back and forth between keyboard and mouse. And if you get used to this, it will speed up your drafting. To get started with today's work, what I'm going to do is expand the Draw panel and pin that in place. I'll do the same for the Modify panel. And this shows me some additional tools for both of those panels. Today we're going to be working with some of the tools on both of these panels. Over here on the Draw panel, I'm going to look at these first two buttons. They allow me to draw different types of splines. I get a lot of questions after the midterm about how the curved part of the A is terminated, and this tool allows you to draw that swooshing shape or that curving shape. So I'm going to go ahead and click the button. I could also type the word spline. After doing this, I can start clicking points, and you'll notice that a line is being drawn between all the points that I make. It's a smooth curve that follows all the clicks and inputs that I'm giving it. When I'm done, I'm going to click Enter or right click. And here we have a shape. Now this is not a series of arcs. This is actually a totally different type of geometry. So there's no consistent radius to any one of these curves. If I were to select this shape, I could see that it has a series of grips along nodes where I have clicked, and those are called control vertices. Lots of different things this kind of geometry can do. If you want to modify this, you can always click one of these grips and simply stretch it to a new point. The curve stays sinuous. There's no kinks or non-tangent curves in here. They're all smooth, blended curves. So this is called a spline. I'm just going to leave that to the side for now. I'm going to pan across my screen. And I want to look at a different tool. Hit Escape to release the spline. I'm going to look at a different tool here that's in the Draw menu. This is a cloud, and these are often used in drawings to show where a piece of a drawing has been modified. So just to see how this works, we could type Rev Cloud, or I can click the button. And by clicking a couple of points, it draws a rectangular shape that is drawn like a bubble. I can also make these freehand by selecting from the drop down. And in this case, it's a single click. Move your mouse in the direction you want the cloud to follow, and when it comes close to closing, it will close for you, and you can draw a revision cloud that way as well. The last tool I'd like to talk about here is the hatch pattern. I have two closed shapes on my screen. They're both clouds. I'm going to draw a third closed shape, which will be a rectangle, intersecting with those two clouds. Now the hatch pattern command will draw a fill or a hatch across an entire area. The area must be enclosed. To start the command, I can type H, enter. You'll notice that the ribbon at the top has changed. It is a contextual ribbon. It's only there while the hatch command is active. So let's go through a few of the points at the top. What I can see is that over at the very far left-hand side of the screen there is a selection there that says pick points. Now I can either pick a point inside an area like this, or I can use the select object. And if I use that button, now I'm going to pick an object. In this case I'll pick this cloud, and you can see that it will fill that area as well. Now what I have here is a single hatch pattern that's defined by the perimeter of both of these areas. If I hit enter, it will close that command and the hatch pattern is drawn, and that's one object. If I start the hatch command again, H, enter, I'm going to go to the pick objects. This time I'm going to pick a different pattern. Let's use, instead of ANSI 31, let's drop this menu down, and I'm going to pick one here that's ANSI 37. Now it says pick internal point. So I'm going to come over to this last cloud and I'm going to pick an internal point. And what you'll see is that it's hatching only partial, so it's using the entire boundary of that enclosed space. When I click, that pattern has been drawn. Hatch is a slow command. It takes time to finish the command, so don't rush it. I'm going to zoom in on this area so we can see those hatch patterns. They're drawn pretty small. If I'd like to change either the angle that they're drawn at or the scale of the pattern, I can still do that in the ribbon. I have to select the object I'm interested in dealing with. Again, hatch patterns are a little slow, so I'm going to pick that object. I have to wait just a second. When your mouse starts moving freely again, you'll see you're back in the hatch editor. And I have some controls up there in the ribbon on the properties panel of the hatch editor. And I can change the scale here to make it larger, or even larger. Let's turn it up to 4. I can also change the pattern itself at the same time. So if I didn't like this particular pattern, I could select a different pattern. I can also change the rotation angle. So let's take a look at this first pattern that I drew. It's the ANSI 31. Still waiting for AutoCAD to release the hatch. It does take time. I'm going to select this one. And up here again, I have to wait for AutoCAD to catch up to me. It's thinking. Up here at the top, I'm given the option of what angle I'd like this to be at. So I have a hatch pattern selected, and I can change the angle. If we change it to 45, those lines will realign themselves vertically. Again, I need to hit escape to release. Watch the next video for a few additional modify tools before we draw the trees.